excitement around it, first off?
Well, it's interesting time of year, you know, you're watching your friends, fellow coaches play, and my buddy Steve Masiello coaches at Manhattan, you know, we're all around the TV last night at my house watching because he's one of my best friends, and it was just really exciting to see that, and then you kind of catch the bug a little bit, especially when you see people that you know that are involved in that one and done type atmosphere. So, you know, we're at that stage of the year, so it's, you know, it's a good time to be playing well, and which we are. So now we just got to keep our concentration on Seattle and see where it goes from there.
You caught the NCAA tournament bug last year.
Mm-hmm.
What does it take to win the WAC tournament?
One game at a time, and just you know, just a real steady routine, and kind of you don't want to get too far out of your box. You know, sometimes you can go overboard as a coach and try to do things a little bit differently or a little bit better or tweak things. And you just need to stay consistent with what you've done in the past and what's worked for you in the past, and you know, have the guys on their normal routine as you can. Maybe limit some of their distractions, you know, in terms of social media and things like that, and just keep them focused on the task at hand.
Seems like the guys have elevated their play come tournament time, especially last season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that? Is there anything where they might be waiting for tournament time, you think?
No, I think, you know, I think as an athlete, you know, it's hard to get too far ahead of, obviously, you earmark games on the schedule in Arizona or Gonzaga just because of the magnitude and success of those programs. But I think once you get into the grind, it's exactly that. It's a grind, you know. So you're just trying to put the pieces together, you know, to try to get that next win and get that next win. And now that we stacked up 23, we've got some pretty good experience at winning, and they've got some comfort level there. So now what they have to do is understand that, you know, these are the things that happened when we won, and these are the things that happened when we lost. And let's go out there and minimize the things that are, you know, got us in the hole when we did lose games.
A lot of these guys, like, obviously have been a part of these last two, but like Sim sat out a year, Daniel sat out a year, like you've been to 3 and 4 years. Like, how does that like success trickle down to this team?
You know, I think well, they talk about it a lot amongst themselves. You know, obviously, you know, success breeds success. So what you want to do is have your experienced guys, you know, kind of step up a little bit right now in terms of giving the younger guys some guidance, and you know, I think the way that we try to build this program is with redshirting guys periodically when you can and when you have the luxury to do it. You know, for example, we never had the luxury to do it with Ronaldo, for example, or Banja, you know, but and those guys probably could have benefited from a redshirt year, but because of the team dynamics, they weren't able to. But we've had several guys like Wendell and Hamadou and you know, guys even on this team, you know, Daniel, like you mentioned, and Sam, the guys that had a chance to kind of sit out and see what it was all about and get hungry and taste it without really, you know, digesting it all. So so I think that at the end of the day, I think that the experience of just being around it, and, you know, it helps to get you acclimated.
Seattle, you know, they have some athletes, they have a scorer. I mean, it seems like a matchup that you guys have handled well this year, but, you know, with the score on the team, you know what I mean?
You know what, I'm a little baffled by their conference season. You know, I think they have a lot of talent. I told you earlier, I said I thought that was one of the teams that should compete for, you know, the conference title. They had a lot of unfortunate things that popped up, you know, behind the scenes in their program, and they've had injuries, and they've had you know, just a lot of curveballs thrown at them that was tough to deal with. So you know, I'm not in their program every day, but I do know that they have the weapons and the potential to beat anybody on any given night. I mean, they won at Utah Valley, you know, already this year. So who was, you know, regular season champion. So there's no question that they have the potential, you know, and already have proven that. So we've got to go in there as if it's the championship game and be, you know, in that mindset.
Do you like Daniel and Kevin just because of the experience? I mean, is that maybe
starting those guys?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think that was kind of the way it worked out at Bakersfield. and the experience definitely played a factor in that. And then when we came home and played Grand Canyon, you know, I like the rotation, and then bringing Ian back and getting him back into the fold. I think, you know, those two guys, Daniel and Kev, I think they do bring some experience for you, and it has a shooter on the floor right from the beginning of the game. That's a legitimate shooter that puts you in a situation where maybe you can get off to a good start as long as you're taking care of the ball at the point guard position and just at all positions, really. I mean, it really comes back down to just being solid to start the game.
Daniel brings like a different dynamic to that point guard, if you do go that way.
Right.
I guess you know, what are his challenges there this week?
Just a lack of experience of you know, having that title and being in that role, the leadership role in terms of from a communicating standpoint and from a floor general standpoint. But he's done pretty well in the last couple of times that he's had a chance to start in that position. But I think at the end of the day, the minutes are probably going to be the most closely watched by us in terms of, you know, who's playing well. You know, Daniel's playing well, Ian's playing well, Trayvon playing well at that position. That particular guy, that particular night will obviously will lean that way a little bit. So, you know, having the freedom to look at different guys there, I think is good, but we can't ride one too long. You know, this is, you know, one and done time, so you got to make sure you know, as coaches, you have your eyes on that position real tough. That's the one that we're watching the closest for production, you know, in the tournament.
What do Ian and Trayvon bring to that position?
Well, you know, they're both true point guards, whereas guys play point guards in their whole careers for the most part. Trayvon's, you know, can get to the rack and is a pretty good floor leader when it comes to, you know, communicating what we're in, what we're doing. Ian has a little more offensive savvy from deep, you know, range, but also has the ability to feed the post really well. He's a good passer, so you know they both have different dynamics that make them, you know, quality additions.
What do you think about the other quarterfinal on your side? I know you're focused on your game, but
Chicago State Bakersfield. I think we could see either one of them. You know, so it's a little tougher to, you know, you can always speculate a little bit off these seeds, but everybody was so close. I mean, their records were maybe 1 or 2 games apart, I get, you know,
Yeah.
so it's not a game that we're really concerned about at this point.
You talk about Daniel winning the WAC Player of the Year award.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I gave a quote on that, I think yesterday or the day before when Eddie asked, and you know, it's hard to really, you know, focus on those type of individual accolades at such a team-focused time of the year. But when I stopped to think about it, because of the question, you know, if I was any other coach in the conference, I would have voted for him too. I mean, he's just so versatile and brings so much to the table to not just our team, but to the conference. You know, he's an added dynamic that I think elevates, you know, what we're trying to do.